Today we will be exploring thousandths. Earlier this year, we explored place value. We focused primarily on anything that was ones or greater, and we are going to be working on extending our understanding of place value to numbers that are smaller than 1 by looking at the decimal part of the number. So in our grade, we only go to the thousandths position, but you should know that this continues in the decimal direction, much like it continues in the whole number direction. So this is the part that we focused on earlier this year. So we had ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, and we did extend it a little bit beyond that. But we're going to focus on now the parts that go after the decimal part. So we have the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousandths. This does continue. You can see it follows that same pattern, just with the THS at the end. But we are only going to focus on going as far as thousandths in this course. So we can show numbers with thousandths in different ways. So one way is with base 10 blocks. Now, when we use our base 10 blocks, they start to represent something slightly different, and we need to relabel what they are. So when I am using base 10 blocks, our hundreds, what we would typically be 100, are actually going to become our tenths. These are going to be our hundredths, and these are going to be our thousandths. And the reason for that is because there are 10 thousandths in a hundredth and 100,000 or 10 hundredths in a tenth. And so we still need to have that structure going up. And then our large cubes are going to represent one whole. And when we break that down, there are 1,000 of these inside of this block. So we're going to continue that down, that there are 10 of these in a large block, 100 of these in a large block, and 100 or 1,000 of these ones in a large block. So using my base 10 blocks, I can represent it like this. I can also use a place value chart. So this number would be 0.345. We can say it out loud or write it in words, which would be 345 thousandths, or we can write it as a fraction in a decimal. So 345 over 1,000 and 0.345. Now, if you're thinking about some of the other things we've done when we wrote fractions as decimals, if I had it over 10, I would write that number in the tenths. If I had it over 100, the top number would be written into the hundredths. And for thousandths, it works the same way. In this example here, I have 2 ones. I have 100th and 3 thousandths. So this number would be 2 and 13 thousandths, or 2.013. Now when we say it out loud or use words, we write this part of the number as if the decimal didn't exist, and then this is the last sort of bit. So 345 thousandths is the last column. 13 thousandths is my last column. Here I have 8 of my singles, and so I have 0 ones, 0 tenths, 0 hundredths, and 8 thousandths. So I can say that is 8 thousandths, 8 over 1,000, or 0.008. Now, using what we've done with equivalent fractions, we can write these with a denominator of 1,000. So if I'm looking at 1/2, I can multiply top and bottom by 5. That'll get me to 5 tenths. And if I multiply that by 100, that is the same as 500 over 1,000. So I can say that 1/2 is 0.500 by doing that. Now, similarly, I can do the same thing with 2 over 5. To get it as a denominator of 10, I have to multiply by 2. Then I can multiply by 100. And so 2/5 is equivalent to 0.400. When we are writing these in expanded form, so remember from earlier this year, expanded form is when we break down each of the places. We would have 3 ones, for this example, 3.248. So 3 ones, 2 tenths, 4 hundredths, and 8 thousandths. So if I think about it in terms of this one, I've really just said 2 ones, 0 tenths, 1 hundredth, and 3 thousandths. So I've broken it down. And then using that place value, only writing that. So 3 and then plus 0.2, plus 0.04, plus 0.008. Now, I know some of you guys enjoyed writing this vertically instead. So if you're writing it vertically, and please excuse my computer writing here, I would have 3 plus 0.2 plus 0.04 plus 0.008. Now, to make this look a little bit prettier, I'm going to fill in the zeros here. It's getting really messy, I'm sorry. And so here, if I were to add straight up and down, I would get my 3.248. So 3, there's only a 2 in that column, there's only a 4 in that column, and there's only an 8 in that column. So when we do that adding, remember that it should give us our original number. We can also use a thousandths grid to represent one whole. So this is like a hundredths grid. So a hundredths grid is usually just the size of just this chunk here. But we have 10 of them, so we have 1,000. So if I have these 3 colored in, I have 300 out of 1,000 colored in, or 0.300. You can do this for any of these numbers and just count how many boxes are colored in. Now, something that's important to remember is that 0.300 is the same as 0.30, which is the same as 0.3. Those zeros after our number don't actually change the value. So these are all considered equivalent decimals. And you'll see that word equivalent, which to us sounds like equal. And so it just means that they are equal. They have the same value. There are some practice questions here. Now, if you're wanting to use some base 10 blocks, I know that you guys won't have those at home. If you do, awesome. But I do have a link to a digital version. So it is linked in the Google Classroom for this. When you pull it up, it's going to look like this. So if I want to represent, you'll see I have my ones, my hundreds, my tenths, my hundredths, and my thousandths. The one thing that you do have to do is check in this box here, click thousandths to ones, and then click go. It'll change the headings here. And then if I want to represent a number, I might have 1 decimal 2 1 3. Now, if you are doing some of these questions and you would like to take basically a picture of this to put into your assignment to help you remember what you did, I have a video also linked. It's called How to Use the Snipping Tool. It is taking a picture of something slightly different, but you will follow the same steps in order to save this picture in a way that you'd be able to then share it or copy it into another file format. If you are having issues or you'd like more help with this, please let me know and I will be happy to set up a video call or something else to help support you in your understanding.